Susan Brace is on the line. She's the founder of and director of the Herefordshire Young and Young Adult Carers. Hi, Susan.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
Lovely to speak to you. Now, this is, we're saying young carers there because the assumption is this will be someone older, but often it isn't, is it?
It's very much the case that young and young adult carers are filling the gaps in social care, and the stats that are referred to this morning are quite shocking. But what's even more alarming is that we know that there are an estimated 1 million young carers across the whole UK. And just in Herefordshire and Worcester, we know there are at least 2 in every classroom. And those numbers continue to increase. That's partly because of the gaps in funding and partly because we are starting to recognise unpaid carers more. So more are being identified. But we also know that these figures are often a huge underestimation because so many carers don't identify as a carer because it's just what you do for somebody you love.
That's it, isn't it? That's the thing. Yeah. Is when is it really actual care that you're doing rather than exactly what you said, just, helping out because you love the person?
Well, the way I always explain it for our young people, because the thing is, it's hard enough. Any one of us can become an unpaid carer overnight, and actually most of us will be a carer at some point in our lifetimes. So for children, though, they often fly under the radar. They're not identified as carers, partly because they don't know that they're doing anything above and beyond what anybody else would be doing. It's normal in their family for them to do this. And partly because there are all sorts of barriers to identifying yourself as a carer. There might be a stigma attached to it. If you're caring for somebody, it shouldn't be the way, but it still is, sadly. If you're caring for somebody with a mental health problem or an addiction to drugs or alcohol, anything that makes it unable for them to carry out daily tasks that they need to do to survive, and that young person is filling the gap, then they are a carer. But it might be something you never talk about outside the family because you're worried that you'll get into trouble. Parents can sometimes feel great guilt that their children are having to do all this for them, but there is nobody else. And the way I explain it to our young people is you're a carer if what you are doing impacts on your ability to have any time for yourself, if it impacts on your well-being, that you're finding you're doing so many extra little tasks that they might be having trouble completing their homework.
And especially for kids. That's like, as you get older. I'm what am I now? 54. So I've got a child, and I've also got elderly parents, and that's sort of the natural order of things, isn't it? So you that sort of squeezed middle thing, you sort of accept it. You go, well, that's kind of where I am in my life, but you don't really expect to be doing that when you're a child, do you?
You don't. But as I said, a lot of our young carers don't realise they're a carer until much later in life. I have many adults who then talk to me and say, oh, actually, I was a young carer. But you don't realise that because you just think that's what you do. And it is what you do because you care for somebody that you love. So we've got children as young as 5 that are giving... It can start... Some of them start as soon as they can walk. They'll be fetching, medication, fetching drinks. We've had little ones that, go and fetch the step stool so they can get up into the cupboard and fetch things for their parents. Or we have older siblings that are looking after younger siblings.
Yes.
So, there's a lot, and it can start really early.
So what would help? Well, first of all, Susan, what help is available? And secondly, what help should be available? What would improve things?
Very sadly, 2 very different things. What should be available is support for all carers, whatever their age, to enable them to take a break, have a break from caring, and to give them support so that they're not having to shoulder unreasonable demands that impact on their health and their mental well-being. That should be the case. We all know that it isn't, but there is help out there. The good news is there is help out there. You might have to look for it, which again, in an ideal world, all that information would be in one place so you could find it quickly and easily. Because the other thing about caring is you have so much on your shoulders, you're trying to spin so many plates that it can be really hard to then have to sit down and research the entire internet to find out what is available for you to access to help you. But if you do go online, you can find that there is support available. If you Google carers, if you look for Herefordshire Carers, you will find there are great organisations. There are various things you can do. You can get a carers assessment, whether you're an adult or a child, and your council will do that for you. But if you just put in your area and carers, you should find what is available for you. And so we provide respite and support for children and young people, but there will be things for adults as well.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Susan, lovely to speak to you. Thanks for having a chat this morning. Susan Brace, founder and director of Herefordshire Young and Young Adult Carers.